Bryce. Hi, I'm Bryce Barrett, and I'm going to talk about my lifelong dream. As a child, I always wanted to fly. I used to watch helicopters and airplanes fly in and out of the airport by my house, and I always wished that I could be a pilot. I've always wanted to be a pilot, and a couple months ago, I accomplished the first step to becoming a professional pilot. I earned my private pilot's license for helicopters. I'm currently going to school to earn all my flight ratings and an associate's in applied aviation science from Yavapai. After I finish here, I plan to continue my education and get a bachelor's degree. While a bachelor's degree is not really required to be a helicopter pilot in the industry, it's a goal of mine, and I've always wanted to finish my education. I chose to do my presentation on how to become a helicopter pilot. Becoming a pilot, like I said, has always been a passion of mine. I dreamed of flying, taking in the amazing views from above, and being near the clouds long before I ever realized that there are actually a lot of businesses out there that rely on aviation. It goes far beyond just airline travel. Helicopters are much more versatile than airplanes as they don't need a runway. They can hover over one spot and they can go places other aircraft really just can't. That is what got me so interested in helicopters. For instance, in some places like Washington State, they use helicopters to fly over cherry orchards, and they blow the rainwater off the trees so that way the fruit doesn't go bad. They're used for what they call longline operations. This is where a cable is hooked to the bottom of a helicopter and it's used like a crane. They use long lining for anything from placing air conditioning units on top of buildings to logging to you name it, stringing power lines, all kinds of things. Helicopters are just extremely versatile. Um, and they can just put things places that are normally inaccessible if you weren't able to get to them from the air. They're good for doing emergency work, like if you were to get hurt or in a car accident, something like that. Or get lost in the woods. Helicopters can find you, and they can pretty much pick you up and take you somewhere from anywhere. And also in an emergency type of situation, they're way faster than an automobile or any other kind of form of transportation would be to get you to a place where you could get treatment. Getting to that high level of prestige, flying super expensive aircraft and doing critical jobs like that, it doesn't happen overnight. An aspiring pilot must go through lots of flight and ground hours of training. And I've heard people say even that doctors are allowed to miss questions on their tests, but pilots have to get 100% in order to pass. And it's true. Flying involves a thorough knowledge of the machine, aviation laws, aerodynamics, aeromedical factors, like what would happen if you're flying at a high altitude and you end up, your body starts becoming oxygen deficient, or if you're carbon dioxide deficient. People get motion sickness when they're in aircraft, so there's just a lot of things that as a pilot you need to know, and you need to be able to take care of the people that are in your aircraft. Um, all the excitement and pride from flying doesn't come without a big expense. It's extremely expensive. With the cost of everything nowadays, the price of aviation related items from avgas to supplies are extremely expensive. Typically, to rent a small helicopter, you're going to spend anywhere from $250 to $500 an hour, and then you're still going to have to pay for a flight instructor if you're not rated. So at a minimum, to get your license, get your flight ratings, you're looking at like $70,000, and I mean that's something that I would have never been able to afford. It if it I had to drop out of school after I got out of high school. I started college and I had to drop out of college, and after I dropped out of college, I joined the military and spent 4 years in the military and earned my GI Bill, and that's how I've been able to pay for this school, and I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity that it's given me. So now, once you do have all your ratings, and you spent all that money, and you're super excited, got to get your first job, you still can't go fly with the big boys. To fly at tours, like just at the Grand Canyon, for instance, you have to have like at least 1,000 hours, and more technical jobs require even more experience than that. In order to get all those hours, an aspiring professional pilot has to get their first job, though. And typically that'll be working at a flight school you graduated from, teaching the new students how to fly, because every hour that you teach someone, you can also log as your own experience. When you're a flight instructor, anyways, it's dual given. Um, Most pilots work for the flight school's instructors for, or doing tours for like a small operation, taking people up to take pictures of real estate or pretty views, things like that. And it doesn't usually pay very well, but it's a necessary evil in order to build the time that's required to get the big job. I consider big jobs to more be like flying EMS, which is like an air ambulance, doing precision utility work like placing power lines, putting air conditioning units on tops of buildings, logging, things like that. Insurance companies require high numbers of hours of experience for these pilots because of the inherent danger associated with the job, and the cost of all the equipment that you're operating is extremely high. Um, so After working as an instructor or tour pilot for a couple of years, a lot of people go fly people out to the oil rigs. That's a job that probably requires around 2,000 hours, but you work so much that you get a lot of hours, and in a couple of years you can rack up enough hours to pretty much get a job anywhere. And once you have the hours and the knowledge, you can make good money as a helicopter pilot, or even start your own business, and that's where the real money is. Um, like flying, owning my own successful business has always been one of my dreams. And as my uncle says, some can buy 'em and some can fly 'em, but not very many people can do both. Well, I intend, with a lot of hard work and some real dedication, to be one of the few people that can do both. I want to be able to buy 'em and fly 'em. And right now I am starting to figure out how to fly 'em, so at least I got part of it down. Thank you.